Now, stumbling oil prices begins to drain Nigeria of billions of dollars. The result could be one of the biggest exchange of wealth in history. While efforts are being put in place by the federal government to cushion the impact of this challenge, investment analysts give an insight into the economic outlook of 2015. Our correspondent Temple Ashaju reports.
Since mid-June, the crude oil market has declined about 40%, plunging from a high of $115 a barrel to a 5-year low of $67 per barrel. The cause of this crisis can be traced to the increase in oil output globally. While the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, decided not to cut its supply, analysts have predicted that the current situation will see crude oil plummeting to a range of $35 to $45 per barrel, a move that may impact negatively on Nigeria's economy.
If it goes as low as that, I think locally it's going to affect the projection in the medium-term expenditure framework. And if it does that, that means there will be infrastructural breakdown and recurrent expenditure will suffer. There will be strikes everywhere, and that means there will be near political anarchy in the land.
The oil glut challenge has pressured the federal government of Nigeria to alter its benchmark price from $78 to $73 per barrel. Analysts' perspective is that these may be unfavorable.
The reality is that it is not conservative enough, in the sense that given the downside risk to oil prices, in terms of giving the overwhelming evidence that oil prices is going to stay below $100 for a long time, I personally think that the government should have been more conservative.
Currently, the federal government is pulling funds from its excess crude account of over $4 billion to buffer its economy. Analysts give their assessment on this measure.
The current decline, continuous decline, and almost seemingly permanent decline and current band of the crude oil, this crude account doesn't make any sense. So this account is we should be talking about the diversification of the Nigerian economy right now.
So if the minister takes away $2.something billion, what will happen when it moves to $50? What will happen when we are completely depleted?
Compared to other oil-producing countries, Nigeria has lower amounts in its excess crude account. To enable it to cushion the effect of the losses arising from this oil price decline, efforts may have to be intensified to generate more revenue. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
Well, no doubt is an issue we must stay on. We're now being joined on the news at 10 by Mr. Eroari Inyeye, financial risk expert. Good to have you join us on the news at 10.
Thank you, Suleiman.
Well, a whole lot has been said about this, and one of the most soothing comments so far is from the coordinating minister of the economy. She said, well, no matter even if it goes below $60 a barrel, we still can actually get it going in the country. How well does that soothe with you?
Well, the coordinating minister of the economy is our job to reassure us that we should not panic and that all will be well. But don't share our optimism, because for a country like ours that virtually relies entirely on crude oil, even the revised estimate for the 2015 budget, which is $73 per barrel, is unrealistic. I mean, in your news, you already told us what the current price of crude is. I see crude oil falling. I mean, the last OPEC meeting, we expected that maybe the OPEC countries will come together and cut production. But Saudi Arabia has its own agenda. Saudi Arabia can afford to be a loss leader and sell crude oil at $5 per barrel, because their game plan is to get America to abandon the shale oil, to abandon production of shale oil, and continue its reliance on Saudi oil. So the game plan of Saudi Arabia is very clear. And so for countries like Nigeria and Venezuela, which are vulnerable, we can't afford a situation where oil sells as low as $60. I'm happy to hear that there is some scenario planning and some sensitivity analysis such that the government is envisaging that, okay, well, this is what we'll do, these are measures we'll put in place if the price falls below these points. But in reality, if the prices fall below $73 per barrel, which is imminent, in a question of days it will fall below that price, it will be a problem. Already, the other day I was watching the television, and the governor of Benue State was lamenting why he's not been able to pay salaries for months because of the increase of civil service salaries. Many states are already in problem. You know, the austerity measures that the government has put in place they are not far-reaching enough, because we still have a bloated civil service. We are going to have to, if we are serious, we are going to have to cut down on the civil service. We are going to have to go back, revisit the Orosaye report about rationalizing government ministries and departments and agencies.
I think you
see, Suleiman, our problem is not, that's what the Serbian governor has done and what the Monetary Policy Committee has done, but our problem is not a monetary policy problem. Our problem is a fiscal problem. FISCAL. Our challenge is a fiscal challenge. Problem of revenue, problem of government expenditure. In the run up to the elections 2015, I'm a politician now myself, like you know. I am apprehensive that whether the federal government will have the discipline to implement the austerity measures. These are my concerns. So Nigerians, the truth is that we must prepare for famine.
We're talking about preparation, but we can't possibly be saying that we're taking unawares, knowing full well that we have seen a drop before, especially during the world economic crisis. The last time it went as low as $40 a barrel. And we've seen that the United States has been talking about its shale oil deposit in large quantity, as well as even China having its own. So if we have Saudi Arabia in the equation, why is it that we still haven't been able to get ourselves out of the mono economy that we have always been?
Suleiman, our problems are historical, they are structural, and they are systemic. I'll explain what I mean. Historically, we have always known that we are vulnerable to where we are. But look at the Constitution. Today, our Constitution says that all federally generated revenue, taxes, sales of our minerals, we must consolidate them in the consolidated accounts and share everything. To the credit of the present Minister of Finance, she came up with the Sovereign Wealth Fund idea, and the act has been passed. But you are aware that the states are still, even though they are on the board of the Sovereign Wealth Fund Corporation, the state governments are still in the courts, at the Supreme Court, challenging the legality or the constitutionality of that. And you are right, sad to say, because constitutionally, Nigeria is compelled by constitution to spend everything we earn. The excess good accounts, which was also a brainchild of Dr. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala during the Obasanjo regime, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago already, I think you said it on your news, the state governments are already clamoring for them to share $2 billion from that amount. Now, so we have systemic problems, we have structural problems, because we cannot have a situation where, can you imagine as a husband, as a father, as a husband, all you earn, you are bound to spend everything you earn, maybe by your marriage covenant. It's insane, so to say. So we have a structural problem. So and it's historical. We must revisit these issues. We must revisit constitutionally. We must put the excess food account into the constitution, such that we are compelled. If it's 10%, 20%, we shouldn't even be using this benchmark of oil as because what we do now is that the differential between the actual market price of crude oil and the benchmark, the excess is what we put in the crude, excess crude accounts. And that account is illegal. That's the truth. Because it's not constitutional. So that's the historical and constitutional challenge. Now,
Well, I was going to say, well, I think that's a good place for us to end it here, because
let me make a point. What is the solution? The solution is that we must stop exporting crude oil. It is time that Nigeria begins to export petroleum products. Because as soon as we continue to export basic crude oil, so long we shall remain vulnerable. Let us go back to exporting food. We can export yams, export beans. We can, otherwise, 2 years in time, we'll still be having this discussion.
Well,
this is not sustainable.
Mr. I'd like to thank you so very much for finding time to join us on the news at 10.
It's always a pleasure, Suleiman.
Thank you. Well, the battle for the Lagos governorship seat is heating up as aspirants brace up for the forthcoming primaries. The latest man to join the fray is a former senator and former Minister of State for Defense, Senator Musiliu Obanikoro. Senator Obanikoro today took to the stage to reel out what he calls a greater Lagos plan that will help deliver people-oriented programs to Lagosians. In 2015, our political correspondent Shewo Kimbale was at the Declaration rally and now reports.
Bright and shining, the National Stadium in Lagos takes an unusual look. The inscriptions and colors in the arena sum up the essence of the event. In style, the man of the moment arrives in the company of his wife and to the chair of supporters. The atmosphere is simply electric, carnival-like experience you may call it. One can almost mistake the event for a festival as the people look overjoyed and they show it in their support to their man, Senator Musiliu Obanikoro. As ortiz through the crowd, they also listened to some of the speakers who enumerated reasons why Obanikoro is best choice for Lagos State.
It is no more business as usual. The PDP has come to say and take over Lagos State.
And the time comes for the former senator and former Minister of State for Defense to tell the crowd and the world what his plans are for the Lagos of his dreams.
A lot has been said about the miracles of the last 8 years in Lagos. But ladies and gentlemen, the more I do, the less I see. As an aspirant in People's Democratic Party, I promise I will use my wealth of experience to work with the National Assembly, to work with the federal government of Nigeria to ensure that we create a special status for the state of Lagos.
Having served at almost every strata of governance, Senator Obanikoro says he has the experience and the right ideas for a greater Lagos. The qualities he says are making him to seek to fly the flag of the PDP at the governorship poll. And the reasons he's asking Lagosians, work with me. Shewo Kimbale reporting for Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, Lagos Governor commissions more people-oriented projects for the citizens. Join us again.